Hello everyone and welcome. This is my Dragonbane Soul Campaign Chapter 2 Session 6. Let's see, where did we last leave off? I think Isaac was in a tangled grove where he just defeated some wargs. That tangled grove contained kind of a strange message enwrapped reed and grass. Somewhat obviously, Isaac couldn't interpret it. It was in a language he didn't understand, with ruins that he did not understand. He did make note of them, wrote them down in his book, but he knows there's some force at work here that he doesn't understand. Obviously, some sort of malevolent force. How else could you have this kind of grasslands out here without something being both malevolent and ancient and powerful? But he does know he's somehow kind of begin to incur the wrath of this thing. It's begun to speak to him personally. Is it demonic? Isaac's a knight. The answer for a knight, yeah, sure, always demons. It's like that old GIF, yeah, aliens. Of course, demons. But nevertheless, you don't know. There are also ancient, powerful things in this world that aren't necessarily demons. So Isaac, he rested for the night. He got healed up. We're gonna get out of here. That was waypoint 5. We're moving on to waypoint 6, the final waypoint of this chapter. It's been a long chapter, but a good one, full of crazy, entertaining things. But I think I too am ready to wrap up chapter 2, move on to chapter 3. So we're gonna get that done. Let's see. Let's go to waypoint 5 here, the final waypoint. Let's see. The grocer in the little village of Derby on the Downs has the information you seek. Unfortunately, he has taken ill with a severe case of lycanthropy and has turned into a werewolf. Why, just yesterday, he devoured Eleanor Smythe's prized chicken Dolores, feathers and all. You need to find a solution to both the werewolf problem and for Eleanor's wrath. Okay, that is the final waypoint. Let's mosey on down the road. The next day, he did spend the night in this tangled grove. Was that a smart decision? I don't know, but either way, he is fine. Nothing else seemed to occur after he killed the wargs. He didn't find anything else in here other than that strange message that he couldn't understand. It was just a warg den. He gets back on his mount pork chop, heads on back down the road west towards this village. A few more hours ride in the early dawn, morning hours. Suddenly it sort of parts. Gets to a part of the road where you can sort of tell when he sits there, it's almost like crossing a line. He crosses a line, and suddenly to the north, there is no grass. There's farmlands. He sees some cows milling in this field, crops in the field. Looks like corn, he can tell. Other things planted, but he's not a farmer. He doesn't really know everything, but corn is kind of recognizable, right? And he sees some farmhouses way in the distance back there to the north, and it's lined with a kind of a worn, beaten down, broken down wooden fence lines the north side of the road. The road looks a little better tended here. South side of the road, however, still all grass. You can still hear the voices whispering to him still. Isaac, why are you here? Isaac, come back. Come back to the grove. He ignores those voices wisely and continues down this road. But the voices are a little quieter, with half not being surrounded by them as much. It is still kind of a weird, disconcerting feeling though. Wall of grass on the south, empty farmland to the north. He rides for about another half an hour, 45 minutes down this road, and finally comes to a crossroads. Signpost there at the crossroads, kind of worn. It says West Leland, East Highcarn, North Derby on the Downs. Well, he knows where he's going. He heads north towards this village of Derby on the Downs. Once again, the farmlands stay empty kind of on his left-hand side, but on the right-hand side, now to the west and to the south at the crossroads is grasslands. He rides north. Another 10 minutes down the road, 15 minutes down the road. Well, maybe a little further than that. Let's go half an hour. It's starting to get closer to noon now. He does hit the village of Derby on the Downs. I just drew a little map just for fun. Why not? Drawing maps are always kind of fun. I like to try to give a little visual display when I can. He gets to the edge of the village over here, and it's quiet. You know, it's almost noon, but he doesn't really see any people on the road. He thinks he hears kind of a clank, 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 a familiar sound of like maybe like a blacksmith working, right? A hammer on metal. But that's kind of the only real sound he hears to speak of. He dismounts. He kind of quiets Pork Chop out here. He once again doesn't want to scare anybody. He tells Pork Chop to be good. You know, ruffles his ears, pets her. No livestock. Pork Chop, you hear me? Don't eat any livestock. No pigs, no cows, no chickens, no livestock. Pork Chop kind of looks at him quizzically like, what is he talking about? Pork Chop, no, livestock. She kind of sits down in the grass over here and just kind of lets out a little wolf. Who knows whether she'll even listen? Who knows if she even really understands? But he begins to walk through the village. Pork Chop kind of wanders off in the woods a little bit. He would not say this is a thriving village. It seems like half the houses, there's probably more houses here in this representation, just a visual. But it's only got one old road through it. In the part of the United States where I live, it's what we call a one-horse town. It's not exactly a big village. Some of the buildings are clearly boarded up and empty. All of the other ones don't really have any windows to speak of. Probably because of the voices. Because the voices are still present here. You know, off this way are still grasslands. The farmlands all seem to be over here. North maybe a little bit, also some farmlands, but the grasslands are still present out in the distance. And even the voices are quieter here. They're kind of more of a, once again, sort of that background in a crowded room where you can't discern anything, but you can still hear them here. Maybe it helps blot out the sound. He travels down the road a ways. He comes to building number 1 here. There's a sign on the shingle hanging over the street. And it says, it's going to warn you already, isn't it? The Fancy Frog Inn, it's called here. So you can tell he finally got in. It's the only 2-story building in this entire town. The rest are all 1 story. It's the only 2-story building. So you can tell it was probably the most important building in this town, made of stone and brick. He goes inside, and sure enough, it is like an inn and a bar. There's a fellow behind the bar tending it. There's some chairs scattered around. There are a few people in here drinking, like 3, and this room kind of grows silent. The minute he walks in, all eyes tune to him. You know, like something out of a Western movie. All eyes turn to him as he walks in the door. He takes off his helmet, He goes and up to the barkeep behind the bar and kind of pulls up a seat and sits down. The bartender, let's see what kind of kin he is. Let's roll on that kin chart here again. I haven't done this in a while. It's been a while since we've been in the town. Let's see. What kind of kin is he? 1 to 12. 10. An elf. Okay. I think I have an elf token over here. Let's see if I can find an elf. I was not expecting to run too many elves around here. Well, you know, I got an elf warrior. How was that for a representation? There we go. I think that's an elf. Yeah, that looks very elfy to me. Okay, so there's an elf tending bar behind the counter. He shifts over to his. They said, "Welcome, stranger. What can I get you?" It says, "Well, just get me a meat. A meat is fine. All right. Giving me that'd be 2 copper. All right. Let me get my sheet out. $2 copper. Okay. The elf just kind of stands, gives them that mug of mead, kind of stands here. The people at their table kind of slowly go back to slowly talking with each other again quietly. Isaac says, "Hey, I'm looking for the grocer." Everyone grows silent again. People at the table suddenly stop talking. And the elf says, "Yeah, his shop's closed." It says, "Closed? Where's his shop?" Now it says, "Right across the street, it's closed." "Well, do you know, when does it open?" "It's not going to open for a while." "Why?" He's gone." "Gone? Gone where?" "Listen, stranger, you're asking a lot of questions. Do you know Simmons?" Isaac, he's not very good at bluffing. So I think he's going to say, "No, I don't know. Simmons, is that the name of the grocer?" "Aye, that's the name of the grocer." "Do you know him? Are you a friend of his?" "I don't think I've ever seen you here before." He says, "No, I'm a friend. I'm not a friend of his. I don't know him, but I don't mean him any harm. I'm looking for him, though. I need to speak to him." I think I'll try to make a persuasion check. 13. That is not gonna succeed. So the elf says, "Well, as I said, his shop's closed. He's not gonna be back. I don't know what to tell you. I guess you'll have to grab your drink and be on your way." Isaac says, "Well, you don't know when he's going to be back." "That's right." "He didn't say where he's going." "That's right." "All right. Yeah. Is there anyone else who might know when he's going to be back?" The elf kind of clams shut again. It says, "Listen, I need to speak to him. So, do you have any rooms available?" The elf says, "You want a room? That's 2 gold." He says, "There's no room, no inn anywhere that he's ever heard of or been in that would cost 2 gold. Certainly not this establishment. 2 gold for an inn, a room at an inn." Isaac stares at him. His stares gets a little bit more intense. Isaac doesn't really know who this elf is. Charging him 2 gold for a room is ridiculous. Isaac says it. There's no way your room costs two gold. Listen, friend. I understand. I'm not here to cause any harm. I don't mean anything to you or anybody. But if you think you're going to drive me away because there's something going on here, guess again. Is this going to try to be maybe a bit of an intimidation, actually? Even though there's not really an intimidation skill, it kind of works like persuasion. Same sort of deal. I got a demon. Well, it's the next day. I've got my lucky die, my lucky coin. Once per shift rest, you may re-roll a demon dice roll. I think I'm gonna do it. I really don't quite want to run into a demon quite. It seems early to use this roll, but yeah. The lucky coin in Isaac's pocket grows warm. 9 is a success. The elf says, "You're gonna buy a room? How many days?" I was only planning to stay 1 day. I only rent my room for 5 days. But I tell you what, since you're a friend, 1 gold. 1 gold is still outrageous. But maybe not so much for 5 days. 1 gold is outrageous. But Isaac kind of gets the score. 24 gold. Sure, why not pay 10 times more than average price for a room? All right. He hands over a gold. The innkeeper's kind of surprised. He doesn't know the last time he's probably seen a gold piece has probably been a hot minute, judging from the state of this village. They probably don't bother in gold at all, much less, rarely even in silver. But the innkeeper perks up with the sight of a guy with actual money. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, very well then. The room is upstairs. Here, he hands Isaac a key. Take your pick. It's the same key for all the rooms. Okay. Isaac goes upstairs. I think he's in the middle of the village. He's not going to worry about it too much. He unpacks some of his belongings, his bedroll and stuff like that. Things like he's been kind of carrying around. This is a very shabby room. I wonder if I have a descriptor for the inside of an inn. I think I probably do now that I think about it. Let's take a quick look. I brought out this book of astonishing random tables once and said it was not great. I used it to roll up a common magic item, which is kind of what it's best for. But it does have a tavern section in here, which is also kind of useful. I use it to name taverns once in a while. Let's roll up a D100 out of fun. Let's roll up a descriptor on this tavern for kicks. What the heck? Where's my 10-sided die? I guess I must have laid it down here somewhere. Oh, it's right in front of me. Let's roll a D100. 95. There's a D100 descriptor for inns. 95. What does this inn look like? This inn tavern, it has a distillery in the back. It's all went on with beds on lifts above the communal table. That seems kind of strange. I don't know if I like that. Let's roll that over again. I don't want a communal bed over 29. That's kind of wild. I like that. A simple bar overlooking the region built on top of one of the area's tallest structures. It's even got a section for regulars, a marketing hook, and complications. All right. I gave it a shot. I guess it doesn't really fit what I'm really going for here. It's a rundown inn in a rundown village in a rundown part of the world. I guess I already know what kind of inn this is. I don't need a world build description, but all right. World building wise, there's another use for that book. Okay, Isaac passes back down. The barkeep's still there. He suddenly notices the three people that were sitting at the table, they're gone. This room is now completely empty, and the barkeep is still eyeing him quite warily. So Isaac walks up to the innkeeper and says, "Well, do you know where Simmons' shop is, at least?" And the elf goes, "It's right across the street. You know, just so you know, there's going to be eyes on you, so don't think about breaking into his house." Wow. Very polite people in this town. Very trusting and warm. Yeah, sure enough, right here at number 2 is Simmons Sundries. It too has a sign above the door. It's just a small little one-story building. Nothing particular sticks out about it, other than the fact that it does have a window right in the front. It looks to be the only place that really has a window that he's seen so far in this place. He peers through the window, though. It's dark and empty, just as the elf said. I guess he won't really press his luck too much on the thing. He kind of looks around. The street's still fairly empty. He does hear clanging coming from over here, though. Kind of walks to the crossroads here. And down here, yeah, see, that's why this looks to be a blacksmith down here. This half of the building's open, just covered on top, but open otherwise. And then the back half looks to be, or the side bottom half seems to be a house. But it's an open blacksmith, and there's a blacksmith there tending something. So he walks to him. He's the only other person he sees right now. All right, let's roll up a kin for this blacksmith. What the heck? Rolling kin is my favorite part. 2. I think that's human. Let's see. Sure enough, big human there. I think I got a good burly human token over here. By the way, out of curiosity, I don't know if you've heard, but the Kickstarter there for the next 2 books has closed, and they funded completely for a book of a town. I think it's Eklund. Is that Arland, Eklund, something like that? And along with like 13 or more adventures in that book. I think there were 4 that were even stretch goals on that Kickstarter. So it's got like maybe 17 adventures in that book. It's going to be a large number of them in there. But included as well, are going to have standees funded as part of that Kickstarter. Very exciting. Of course, there's going to be a book of magic that's going to have I think up to 8 different kinds of magic schools in there now. Anyway, it's due next April, but it's going to be great. Excited for that. Anyway, sure enough, there's a human back here. Looks like he's making nails. right and left as he walks up to him. The blacksmith looks up and looks a little bit shocked as Isaac walks down the road. Isaac notices this guy's wearing a pair of Quackenbush's earmuffs over his ear. Sure enough, he's pulled down his earmuffs, and he can tell they're Quackenbush's specially designed earmuffs that he was talking about. What a deal! He has been selling a couple of these. And the innkeeper looks at him quizzically. Isaac says, "Hi." Hello. Name's Isaac. How are you? Fine. What can I do you for? I was looking for the grocers there, but it's all closed up. I was hoping to buy some rations and stuff. Oh. It's closed. Well, you know when he'll be back? I doubt it. I don't think he's ever going to be back. Really? What happened? Oh, not my place to say, really. I guess I'll try to make another persuasion. We'll see how this goes. That is another demon. I can't re-roll that. I already rolled a demon. Isaac says, "Oh well, do you know the guy?" And Blacksmith says, "No, I don't know him." And he goes back to pounding his nails, and he puts back on his headphones, and completely tunes Isaac out, and just ignores him completely at that point. Isaac shrugs. Things aren't really looking very good. Well, since no one's turned around, he'll do some investigating. He kind of walks in the back of the Simmons Grocers in there just to see if anything. I think I'm gonna roll. I kind of know what sort of things I want to do in this village. I did try to plan it out a little bit. Let's see. I think he's just gonna observe the place, see if he can see anything that looks like, I don't know, anything suspicious. I'm gonna have him roll hunting because there are tracks on the ground. Let's see if he successfully sees any of these tracks. He does not. He wanders around the back over here to the side. I think I am going to have him roll just another awareness check. Don't worry, Isaac's going to get through this. He can fail every roll in the world, but sooner or later, he's going to get where he needs to go. 3. Okay. He rolls an awareness check, and he realizes kind of over here is a person who's kind of hiding around the corner, watching him. I'm going to roll another kin. Man, why not? I'm having a little more success with kin. Whoa. Wow. 6. I think kin, that might be our vaulted halflings that we love so much off the kin table. A 6 is a halfling. Isaac has luck with halflings. If you remember in High Karn, halflings always seem to work out okay for him. So, sure enough, there's a halfling woman standing over here. She was trying to stay out of sight, but he obviously caught her. The minute, though, she looks like she knows she's been caught, she just kind of back up around the corner. It's kind of going to go after her. She kind of goes here to the corner, but she stops as she sees that he's pursuing him. And she tries to look nonchalant. Isaac says, "Excuse me, miss." She's like, "This is my house," she says. "I was just minding my business. Don't mind me, stranger." "No, I mean you no harm. I was looking for the grocer." She's like, "I know, I saw you in the back of his house. He's not there." And he's like, so I've been told. "Listen, no one in the town seems to want to talk to me about it. Has something happened to him?" He does succeed. He says, "Yeah, something's happened to him. He's kind of gone missing. Listen, I don't know much." "Gone missing? Well, when and how?" She's like, "Listen, people around here don't want to talk about it, and I assume they don't like to talk about the strangers. You know the man? You know Mr. Simmons?" "No, I don't know Mr. Simmons, but I need you to speak to him." She's like, "Well, I don't know if you're going to have much luck to that stranger. He's taken ill." "Taken ill? Well, does he need a doctor?" "He needs more than that. So why don't you all go down to the end of the street, and you'll see a nice white house there with a picket fence. That's Eleanor's house. I'm sure if you talk to her about it, she'll tell you everything." "Eleanor? That's right. Go down there, stranger. I gotta go. She kind of wanders off this way. Isaac takes on, he wanders on down to 4 here. This is indeed Eleanor Smy's house, who I mentioned with her chicken, Dolores. Sure enough, it's a white house, white trim. It seems to be in better shape than the rest of the houses here in this town. As a matter of fact, it's almost kind of quaint, very well tended. A little flower bed in the front. And nice steps leading up to the front of the house. It looks like that much better shape than the rest of the houses in this neighborhood. It kind of goes up to the front door. Ken really like their front doors. and they're nice thing. He knocks on the door. And after a few minutes, he doesn't hear anything. No one seems to answer. He knocks a little louder. And then finally a woman comes to the door. Let's see. Boy, I'm having to get out my tokens today. There's only so many tokens for so many people in this crazy town. Okay. How about this? We'll go with this thiefy looking person here. Eleanor Smythe opens the door. She squints at Isaac. Purses her lips a little bit. A goblin? What's a goblin doing at my front door? Who are you? Isaac's like, my name is Isaac. Well, I'm not buying anything today. So you could just mosey on back to your cart. No, I'm not selling anything. In fact, I'm actually looking for the grocer. Simmons. You're looking for Simmons? Isaac says, yes, that's right. I'm looking for Simmons. We're never going to see Simmons again. That's a good thing, too. I don't want to have anything to do with him. He's going to be finished with this town after what he did. Well, what did he do? He killed my chickens. He killed your chickens? That's right. Ate them. Isaac tries to ponder this for like a second. He stole your chickens? He owns a sundry. Why would he steal your chickens? You think he would just buy them from you and sell them in the store if that's what he needed to do? She looks at him like he's daft. Like, you don't... No. Listen, fella. Isaac, is it? That's right. What business of it is it yours? Why are here? You're not a friend of his. I've never seen you in this town. Well, I needed to speak to him. He has information I need. And no one in this town is helping me, Eleanor. I'm hoping maybe you will. She's a little surprised by his directness. I'm going to give him another persuasion. I think she likes that directness, though. I'm going to give him a boon on this. I think she appreciates the fact that no one in this town wants to speak to him, and he came to speak to her. A 9. Just barely made it. But that's all I needed for the boon. She's like, well, people in this town aren't very friendly, unlike me. Isaac's still not very sure that Eleanor is really all that friendly. But he says, okay. He's like, well, I'm not commenting on whether the people in this town are friendly or not, but they didn't want to talk about Simmons. They did say, I met a girl who said he was taken ill. Oh, he's taken ill, all right. He's turned into a werewolf. It kind of blinks at her. A werewolf? That's right. Your hearing works great. How did that happen? How do any of these things happen? I think I'm going to roll a myth and legends. Werewolves are kind of a myth and legends kind of creature. How much does Isaac know about werewolves? 12. Isaac does not know a whole lot about werewolves. Maybe I'll should I push that roll? I think, how important is it I know something about werewolves? I don't think it is. I don't think I'll push that roll. I'm not going to worry about it. But he doesn't know a whole lot about werewolves other than what common knowledge states people know about werewolves. He's like, well, so he turned into a werewolf and ate all your chickens? Aren't the people of this town concerned? Oh, they're concerned, all right. Why do you think the streets are completely empty in the middle of the day? It's like, well, don't they only come out at night? Eleanor shrugs her shoulders. What does Eleanor know about werewolves? She's like, I don't know. I don't think people want to take any chances. All I know is he ate all my chickens. And he's run off in the woods somewhere. No one knows where he is or where he's going to be coming back. Well, is anyone going to try to help him? Eleanor's like, well, he's got friends and a girlfriend. Maybe they want to help him, but I don't think they know what to do either. No one in this town's ever dealt with a werewolf before. Well, is there a doctor or somebody in this town? She's like, no, there's no doctor in this town, but, you know, we don't know what to do about the situation either. You might be able to talk to his friend Emmett. Where does Emmett live? Other side of town. Oh, okay. She's like, yeah. Well, you can come back if you want. She's like, but, you know, I don't know how much help I can be either. Okay, Isaac's been walking all over this town without a whole lot of success, being sent from place to place. He goes down, other end of town, sure enough, Halfling's still sitting here, kind of watching him still. He's like, excuse me, young lady, you know where Emmett's house is? Young lady looks around, she's like, yeah, I'm in front of it. This is Emmett's house. I'm his sister. Oh, I hear Emmett is, you know, the best friend of the grocer. Ah, they're friends. Where is Emmett? Well, Emmett's taken to the woods up north. He's looking for him. Oh, really? That's right. I guess you spoke to Eleanor? That's right, I spoke to Eleanor. Oh. Well, then you heard. That's right, I heard he turned into a werewolf. How did that happen? No one knows other than the fact that he got in a fight with a stranger about a week back. Some other person came to this town looking for something from him, and I don't know what kind of kerfuffle they got onto, but he kicked him out of his store. And they did bandage his arm about it. Aren't werewolves contagious by wounds? He said, I don't know. I guess I've always heard you get bit by one, but I don't. Did the person bite him? I don't think so. I don't know much about it. But I guess if you want to help him, you might want to try to find Emmett. He'll be back before dark. That's what I'd advise. Well, I'm staying at the inn. My name is Isaac. I need to speak to the grocer. Maybe I can help him. Can you have your brother, you know, maybe come to the inn and see me when he gets back into town? She looks at him. I guess. Okay. Taylor goes back to town. The bartender's still there. Bartender doesn't exactly look very excited to see him. He says, so I hear the grocer got turned into a werewolf. And the elf says, oh, yeah, you don't say. I guess I heard something like that. Well, you know, it would have been helpful you told me. Yeah, it would have been helpful if you never even came to my bar in the first place. He's not really sure what that means. But Isaac's going to spend the rest of the day here, I think, resting, waiting for Emmett to return. And I think that's where I'll wrap up this session for today. I realize I've had some pretty long sessions, so I'll try to keep it kind of short this time. I do want to finish this waypoint, though. It might be a couple different sessions for this waypoint, but I would rather finish it this week or so if I can and move on to the next waypoint. So maybe I'll post the next one in a couple days. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you being here. Have a good couple days.